Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 10 of The Missing Piece with me, Reshma George, and our beautiful, beautiful guest, Marnie Barenko. Thank you so much for coming on, Marnie. You're officially one of my favorite people on the planet. You
Aw,
melt my world.
thank you.
you, you literally melt my world every time I talk to you, and we've interacted quite a bit this year, and we've had every single conversation has been uh, just melting. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being on the planet while I'm here. And it's been such a pleasure to see the kindness you be. And I mean, I don't know too much about you. So what has your journey been like, Marnie? What has um, how has your journey been with respect to your life, your relationships, and with respect to Access? How has it been? How long have you been doing Access, and what has it been like?
So I found Access in 2011. So going on, well, it'll be 10 years.
Okay.
And the prior to that, when I came across Access, I was in my second marriage. I had been married, had 2 kids, got divorced, remarried, had another child, was not happy. We being my ex-husband and my son, who's 12 now, he was like 4 at the time, we were walking around a metaphysical bookstore, and I was chasing the child, making sure he wasn't gonna, break the Buddhas and throw things on the floor.
Yeah.
His dad was standing at the books and looking at the books, and he said to somebody that was standing there, he said, "How do you actually get this shit to work?" And the guy said, "Oh, no, not there." And he took out his phone and he said, "You got to try this. You got to look up this thing called Access Consciousness." And so he was trying to pull it up on his phone, and he couldn't bring up the website. So, we went home. But the next day I worked from home, and I was at my computer, and I was like, "What was that thing?" He said, "Access Consciousness." So I just looked it up. I, put it in Google and brought up some stuff, and I sat there and I just listened to all kinds of YouTube videos, some from Gary, some from Dr. Jane, some from Simone Milasas. And I just was finding thing after thing, and I was reading about the bars, and it was very much, I'd been a seeker all of my life. Like, I grew up in a Christian family. We were in church 3 times a week, was a light week, sometimes almost every day of the week. Right. And always, there were things that just, something didn't settle with me ever. So I was always looking, always reading, did Reiki, did a lot of different modalities. And I would find things worked for a while, but at the end of the day, I had to work really hard, and I never really felt any better, and things didn't really change very much. So then I would be on to the next thing. So when I was listening to all the things from Access, it was this sense of, when somebody puts into words something you've known your whole life, but you could never speak because you just sort of knew it, but nobody else was saying it. And it blew me away. And the thing that stuck with me the most was, I heard Dane say the definition of consciousness is including everyone and everything, judging nothing and no one. And my whole world, like, I sat there just tears and joy. And because it was like, that right there, that's the thing that nobody's articulated or put into words, but I've always desired and known. And when I would see the opposite of that, the exclusion and the judgment and the, the meanness and the cruelty, I'm like, what the fuck goes on here? Like, I don't get any of this. And to hear that, it was like that right there. That is the thing that I desire. That is the thing I've always known as possible. So that's what kept me coming back and taking my first bars class. And, here we are 10 years later. So still.
Yeah. So I'm so curious when you say that you never really got it, like, because that I have been, choosing to get married and stuff like that for a very long time. And for the longest time, I don't seem to get relationships in this reality, right? Like, people, especially since you also come from a Christian background, like, even in the Bible, it's written not to judge. But I think it's the irony is that Christian people judge the most of when
Oh,
we
wow.
don't go to church
Oh, yeah.
and how we don't live a perfect life. And if we don't confess, then it's a sin. And I don't know what not. So I I fail to understand how relationship actually work, and it's when I actually got the tools of access, like, okay, cool, I don't really need to understand to be in one. That's the first thing. And
Yeah.
second is I can create one actually that works for me.
Yes. And it can look any way that you would like it to look. And I think that's the biggest thing, so I ended up getting a second divorce. And I get that it's like we look around and we conclude that we only have the choices available to us that other people think they have available to them. So we try to match what other people are doing in relationship based on what our parents told us, what schools tell us, what religions tell us, what culture tells us. They give us sort of the parameters and the rules of what a relationship's supposed to be. And then if you either don't want one or you try to mimic it the way they said you should mimic it and you're miserable because that doesn't actually work for you, the conclusion you walk away from with is there must be something wrong with me, rather than what if none of this is true? What if everything they said is a lie? What if it doesn't have to be this way? Then you go out of the conclusion and trying to get it right and to get the perfect thing and mimic what you see, which leaves you judging you, and into choice of, whoa, if this wasn't true, if nothing anyone taught me about relationship was true, then what would I like? Do I want one? Yes, no. And if I do want one, what would I like it to be like? What's the energy I'm looking for here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if a relationship doesn't work, the biggest conclusion over there is that, one, like you said, something's wrong with me, and that I am worthless. Like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I am not good enough, and that's why I can't even seem to find a man or a woman or whatever gender you prefer. And
Right.
it's so funny, right? It's so funny how quickly we jump into that conclusion of
Yes.
what a piece of shit we are.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's so if somebody right now, whoever's listening to us, is feeling that way, like a piece of shit, and there are people to validate that around that person and gaslight that person even more, what would you suggest them? What is the tool that you would give them?
I love the question of what's right about me that I'm not getting whenever I'm really going to the judgment of me, or when other people have their projections and they're throwing them my way. What's right about me that I'm not getting? And also the choice to be as different as I truly am instead of trying to pretend not to be. Because it was really like a lot of the judgment I had for me was I was doing my damn best to be normal while knowing I was not normal. I mean, I remember walking into my room in middle school and just like throwing myself on the bed and crying, like, why can't I be normal? I just don't fit. Like, I don't fit. But then deciding that I'm supposed to. So torturing myself every single day by trying to be the normal that I thought I was supposed to be and being miserable. So I guess I got to the point of, I'm so miserable with this that I would rather just embrace my different and be it and let people do with it what they want, because I'm going to have way more fun that way. It's, hashtag not.
Can you talk about that too? Because it's funny you say this. Oh my God, Marnie, like we've spoken so many times, but we never got to this conversation where I tried. I still, as a kid, I was not a talkative person, and look how far I've come. Well, but I was a very quiet person, and I would feel like, okay, I don't know what to say, I don't know who to be, or I don't know if I say something, will I offend somebody? Will they feel bad? And those. Oh my God, there are so many parameters that you had to take care of before you open your mouth and said something, because probably it would be the most obnoxious thing.
Right.
and a lot of times my parents are like, shh, you don't talk like that, don't say that to that person. Or, there's this one incident where I'd gone to meet a doctor, and doctor's like, do you dance? I said, yeah. I said, would you like to be my salsa partner? And my parents freaked out. They're like, what is wrong with this kid? Why would you say that? So, even saying that as a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old kid was so wrong.
Yes.
and to be the difference that you be, like, is that just a choice, or is there more to it?
Well, I would say yes, it is a choice and it is a muscle. And so for me, it's like when the moments I would choose to be the different, and there's very much a different energy of, it's not about, well, fuck you, everybody. I'm going to just show up and just, blah, blah, because I'm like in rebel mode. I'm going to prove to you I don't fit here and I'm different than all of you. It's not actually that. It's because that's a proving rather than an embracing of who you are. And so it's more the energy of, you know what, I'm going to honor me by being me. That's what, because every time I choose to be me, even if someone doesn't like it, even if they judge it as wrong, then I'm having my own back. I'm honoring me. I'm having gratitude for me. I'm having allowance for me. I'm being vulnerable with me. And I'm going to give that to me. And however that looks, I'm going to let people do with it what they want. And then the other part is when I would choose that and someone would have a reaction and I would notice me wanting to go into the judgment of myself now, or trying to prove to them why that's not true. It really just looking at, whose lies, what lies, how many lies am I using to stop me from being me here? And then just create those. So it's really, it's a muscle, and it is, the tool and access of choose every 10 seconds was my least favorite tool. I didn't get it. I hated it. I don't understand this tool and I don't get what it does. But it really is every 10 seconds, because when I choose, then this is going to bring this up over here for these people. Now I get to choose again. What would I like to be with that? And the commitment to facilitate, and the word facilitate means to make easier. So the commitment to facilitate me in my life so that whatever came up this 10 seconds, how can I create more ease with this? What choice can I have and make right now to create more ease with this?
Yeah.
Oh
my God, that is so brilliantly put, because it's really a muscle, isn't it? Like that whole thing about showing up, being the difference all the time, and without the fuck you, I'm gonna be my difference. That I'm not sure if that really works, because it generally backfires, in a lot of ways. And rather than actually being like, okay, cool, you don't like me, that's cool, but I still like me, so I'm going to be me. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not saying I'm wrong either. And, it's not about right or wrong. It's about just saying, hey, cool, you can have your reality, I'll have mine, and we can both coexist.
Yes. And Dr. Dane here said this one time, I used to wonder what to do with the world. And now I wonder what the world's going to do with me. And it was so almost from where the world was this overwhelming place that I didn't know how to handle, how to navigate, deal with the people in it, to the place of being empowered. And now I'm like, wonder what you're going to do with me. But the more you keep choosing you, then there comes a place as you strengthen that muscle where you start to so much have the joy of life and living that you can find the humor of when you choose for you and people are like, I do not know what to do with this person. I don't know. They don't fit in any of my boxes or any of my categories, and I'm not sure what to do with them. And you can find like the humor, and that's actually kind of funny.
I think my parents have reached that space where like, okay, I don't know what to do with this girl. I just let her be. So,
you become uncontrollable is actually what occurs because they don't know what to do with you. There's no box that you can be stuffed into.
Yeah. I'd like to bring something that you said earlier about what was that you said about doing something with the world? What do you mean by that? Like, so I agree to what you said, that most often you don't know how to navigate between the 100 things that's going on in the world, and there are a million things, and my autoresponder most of the times is overwhelm. And like, I just want to leave everything and run to the hills, and that includes relationships, right? Because people, when there are 10 people asking for your attention constantly, and when there is your partner or your parents or your pet or your children, and you're like, okay, can you all just shut the fuck up, because I can't do this. So what do you do then?
Well, one of the things I would say when everybody's pulling on you, flow tons of energy to them. Just because our first reaction is, Jesus, people, like, stop wanting something from me. So we want to pull our energy out. And the moment we pull it out, they have to come at us even more because our energy is not in their world anymore. So flow, like, just flow so much energy to them that they stop tugging, and lean into it rather than pull away from it. Our first response with the overwhelm or the demands or the tugs or the whatever is, I just want to check out and avoid it and make it go away. But when we lean, and the lie in that is, this thing is greater than me. And that's the lie. Nothing is greater than you. So instead of pulling out, avoiding, pulling your energy out of it, lean into it, be so present with it, flow so much energy to it, and turn you up. And watch how quickly it changes. I do that with my kids all the time. When there's just the extra tug, 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 it's just like, and I just want to go, I'm going to go hide in the bathtub. I don't want nobody knock on the door. Just take it. And it just takes a minute. It really, energetically, you can change it in just such a short amount of time. Just be present, lean into it, flood all kinds of energy, all from the universe. It's way bigger than you. While you are very much the universe also. It's the ocean and the drop in the ocean at the same time. But yeah, the universe, it's infinite, limitless.
Yeah. And there's downloads of energy out there that you can just flow to them. And
yes. Yeah.
And just be, if that's what you'd like.
Yes.
Yeah. So what has changed from, you've had marriages before and now you're with an amazing man who you love being around and you're in a relationship. So how does, I mean, I love seeing your posts and your pictures with him, even though I don't know his name. Yes, Bill. Like, what has changed? Because the energy has changed, you're receiving, and you'd like to be with somebody now. And it's not coming from a space of any kind of obligations or boxes or, any of those things of age, time, caste, religion, whatever.
Yeah.
It's beyond all that. And it's a choice now to have somebody in your life. So what are the tools that you actually use to create that? And how do you
Well, so really the biggest thing that I did is, in Access, we talk about the 5 elements of intimacy, which is honor, trust, vulnerability, allowance, and gratitude. And I made the commitment that I was going to be those for myself. And I actually looked at, what is it that I've decided I need relationship for, or what have I decided a relationship should bring into my world? And everywhere I'm not willing to be that for myself, what choice can I make to be that for myself? So I really got to the place of, I would say it was needless of a relationship. I was not looking for one even. I was so very happy, grateful, loving my life, loving waking up every day. I was just, there was no need in my universe. And it was from that space that I was driving my car and I said, if I even go on another date again, because I had gone on a few dates and, whatever. But it was, if I even go on another date again, I desire someone who is the energy that I contribute to them creating more. They contribute to me creating more. The energy of joy, adventure, something that really adds to my life. And I said it and I was like, it wasn't a now I'm going to go look for this. It literally was said the words and just, that's that. There was not a, oh, now I must find this. It was, and I'm really happy. And if, then cool. And if not, totally cool. And literally 4 hours later, he sat down next to me and I was talking to my oldest stepson and I just felt this like ping, like, remember what you requested? And I turned and it was like a match. But it was 4 months later before we actually went out, and that's a whole other story. But to answer your question about the tools, it was to become needless by choosing the 5 elements of intimacy with me. And from there, with creating this, what I like to, the term that Simone and Brendan came up with of creationship, creating that with him, it's the willingness to be day one every single day. Like to wake up every morning, so grateful that that person is in your world, no expectations about anything they choose, total allowance of you and total allowance of them. And which again takes me back to the 5 elements of intimacy with myself, because if I didn't be that for me, I can't be that with him. It starts there, you know. And I get the thing that most people do in relationship, if they're in one, they're trying to fix the other person or fix the relationship. If they're not in one, they're trying to do the thing that's going to attract the person. But it's really like cart before the horse. It's about you. It's about you being you. It's about you choosing for you. It's about you knowing that you're an infinite being, complete, don't lack a single thing. And then the relationship becomes a choice.
Yeah. So like you said, it's when, you know, before for me, it's so easy to be the 5 elements of intimacy with myself when I'm not in a relationship.
Yes.
It's like, okay, cool, I'm happy, I'm joyous and creating my life. It's an adventure every single day, waking up to myself and, you know, doing my thing is fun. And then the moment we step into a relationship, and I know it's similar for a lot of people, the moment you get into the relationship, it's always about the other person, and then it's about solving some problem, or, you know, you create problems to solve it together, and then eventually it becomes about how he or she is not enough, and, you know, it's about how you know, he doesn't understand, or she doesn't call, or they're not interested in what's going on, why does he disappear, he's not available for me, and these kind of moments where you're constantly dissatisfied in the relationship.
Yeah.
So how, like, I know it's not a how really, I think it's a choice of having the 5 elements of intimacy regardless if you're with a person or not with a person, right? It's really about starting from you. Doesn't matter who is a part of your life or not, it's about you having that for you.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I would say when those things start to come up, though, it's a couple of good questions to ask is, you know, like, is this relationship still contributing to me? And is it contributing to this person? Or did we do what we came here to do? And is it done? So that's the first question. And if you get no, that there still is a contribution here, then, you know, destroy and uncreate everything your relationship was up until now. Everything. And it's an interesting thing that we do. And because it's like when you find the relationship and you're really enjoying it and you're loving that person in your world and it's a whole lot of fun, we tend to do this thing of, see, now I've got it. And then we want to lock it in. We want to seal the deal. We want to make this a forever. But the moment you lock it in with a forever is the moment you've destroyed it, because it can't breathe anymore. It can't continue to evolve and unfold and be playful. You just ticked the box, went on autopilot, and you killed it. So there's this space of, and it's uncomfortable. Wow, I love this person in my world. And the very first day when me being in their world isn't contributing to them creating more, then I will honor their choice to choose something else. That's a tricky space to live in.
Oh my God, that's scary to say the least.
It's a vulnerability. Like, it's a vulnerability that is, but true creationship would never ask someone else to choose something that wasn't the greatest possible choice for them, no matter what.
Wow, that is such a beautiful space to be in, isn't it, Marnie? Like, if my being in your life is not contributing to you anymore, I'm willing to move away so that you can choose greater and I can choose greater too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no push and pull or force or any kind of energy.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing, isn't it? But how many of us actually do have the courage to see that that is also contributing to us, not only to them? There's not giving up. It's not giving up.
Yes. There's no giving up any single part or piece of you. And because to what you said, it's like the moment we get into the relationship, the tendency, because we do love this person so much, we want them there, they're wonderful. And so then it becomes, we try to decide what they want us to be, how they would like us to be in the situation so that we can do what they want us to do so they'll stay. Ugh. then you're not there anymore. And the person, you took you out of the equation, and the person was with you in the beginning because of you, because you were there as you. So every time you try to decide what they would like from you and be that, you cut off you, and little by little, you're no longer there anymore. They can't have a relationship with you. You left.
Yeah, because you become this other person they don't even know.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So what is that though, Mani? Is it our point of views, insecurities of ourselves, that if we show up as all of us, they won't like us, or they won't approve of us, or we'd probably dim them, or we'd shine too bright and they'd be like sort of this dull thing? What is?
I get it can be different things in different scenarios. And I get it comes down to we're trying to secure an outcome, and we're trying to control something and decide what that's going to take to control it to the outcome we decided we must have.
Right.
Yeah. And I love the movie 50 First Dates. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And but my favorite scene is actually Lucy, who's played by Drew Barrymore, the scene towards the end of the movie with her daughter. And if you haven't seen it, Lucy was in a car accident, and the main character in the movie. And so every night when she goes to sleep, she loses her memory. So she wakes up every day, doesn't remember anything from the day before. But so towards the end of the movie, she wakes up and she has a husband, she has a daughter. There's a video on the table and it says, "Watch this." So she puts it in, and it's saying, "Hi, it's me. I'm your husband, and you're not going to know that, but we're upstairs on the we're on the deck. They're on a boat, and this is your daughter." And when she walks, that makes me cry every time. But when she walks up and her daughter's standing there, and she just kneels in front of her with total, "I am meeting you for the very first time, and you are so beautiful, and I wonder who you are, and I can't wait to get to know you." And that energy, it's that energy. And that energy is beautiful and wonderful. And it's a choice to not do judgment, to not do projections, to not ask anybody to ever choose for you, only to choose for them, to not have any expectations of who they're supposed to be for you, but be willing to be it for yourself. And it is those choices that allows you to show up with who's in front of you in every single moment. No scorecard of what happened yesterday. No, you messed up yesterday. Day one, hi. Just hi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fuck, Marnie, I mean, this conversation is so brilliant in so many ways. Like I'm just realizing that every relationship, from friends to our siblings to our parents to our partners, we're constantly trying to have an outcome of a peaceful ending, or of having them constantly in our lives. So it's so freaking brilliant. Like, we're such amazing creators. We cut ourselves off and we still choose to be happy. And like, what if we could have all of us and we could just choose for ourselves and expect them to choose for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And regardless, even if it's your parent, like, what, just because you're born out of their womb doesn't make you their slave, doesn't make them entitled to you completely. What if you could choose? Like, what if they could choose what works for them? What if you could choose what works for you? Like, especially in India, the whole, like, this, because of the whole COVID thing, like my mom's not taking public transport. So like, I feel like an obligation to drive her around everywhere, because we're not calling the driver either. But what if, and if I didn't choose to do that one day, there's so much of guilt, because obviously I'm disrupting the whole system, right? And the whole deal over there. But what if she could choose what works for her, and getting corona or not, that's also a choice, isn't it?
Yes.
So like, everything comes down to the 5 elements of intimacy, and that, choose what works for you, choose what honors you, choose what makes your life easy, rather than choosing to have an outcome. Thank you, Marnie, for this wonderful conversation. Is there something you wanted to add to it?
I was just going to add to that, with all those things that you just said, it creates us as being needless of anyone else. And it also creates us where the people in our world can be needless of us. Because rather than catering so that they have need of us, we empower them to realize that they get to choose also, which takes away that need and neediness to the needlessness, which allows relationships to work and flourish and add to their lives instead of be something that takes from them.
Yeah. So that's it to this episode. But this has been such a beautiful contribution. Thank you for coming on, Vani. I'm super, super grateful for this contribution and your insights on how this has worked. And I'm going to certainly use these tools. I mean, I am so thrilled. It's created so much space in my world too. So thank you. And thank you guys for watching us, and for everybody who's going to watch us in the future. I hope you had fun watching this, and this has been a contribution. So I'll see you next Tuesday with another beautiful guest. And have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.